What is going on? We are going to be looking at some Gecko Moria gameplay. And let me just say that this is the deck list that I've been using as of late. I like it a lot. I think the only two things that are kind of different from other decks is a little bit of Hayori action, as well as the You'll Frighten Me. You'll Frighten Me is a little bit more up in the air. I do understand you don't get the most use out of it, considering that if you're 3 life or more, you can't pop it and use it to stop an attack, and you're going to freeze with Corona anyway. But I feel like it's a pretty good counter to have in the deck. Hayori is pretty good. As a matter of fact, the gameplay about the show kind of highlights how good she is, just because off of the Gecko Moria trigger, you can play her out, and it's actually pretty good for sponging a hit and then getting a life. And then, of course, Zoro. Zoro is by far one of the greater additions to this team, although I wouldn't say the best. I'd say the absolute best. I only run one because I think that's all that's necessary, is Mr. Oars right here. And this guy is actually amazing because he's a 4-cost Thriller Bark, so he can get played from trigger. And his gimmick is that if there's a 10k Gecko Moria, such as this Gecko Moria, he becomes 7k. Now, the cool thing is that you can also put 3 Dawn on this Gecko Moria, he becomes 7k. You can put 5 Dawn on your leader, he becomes 7k. And this is huge because the big problem with Gecko Moria is that he goes wide, similar to Boa. And, you know, he's doing a bunch of 5, 6, 7s, you know what I mean? You're not going to get a lot of 8s. So him being here is actually pretty good because a lot of times what slows down Gecko Moria is like, for like blue, purple Luffy, he'll have a bunch of counters, he'll have a blocker, and you kind of need a big swing. You need a 9k swing. With this guy, you can go ahead and swing with, you know, a hogback for 7, pop him. He becomes 1k, 8k if Gecko Moria's on the field. And he's really good. Like, he's a very good addition. And the reason why I think it's not worth it to run more than 2 of this guy is that if you have Gecko Moria, blah, 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 and you have no other Oars characters, this character gains plus 7k, so you can't have more than 1. But for the gameplay we're about to look at now, this is the deck list I was using. I had 2 Oars, I had 2 Hiyori, I had 1 extra You'll Frighten Me. So the difference between the two is that I just dropped an Oars, dropped a counter, and then picked up a Zoro, which in my opinion, that deck, the way it is now, I like it a lot more. But let's go ahead and let's actually look at the gameplay, because I think that this is my 1 of 5 wins ever against Blue Yellow Nami, which is depressing because she's just a really good leader. She's very annoying. She's one of the few leaders that actually, it kind of becomes ridiculous at a certain point in time where, like, she has Nougat on the field, she can play the Thriller Bark package, she can do pretty much everything Gecko Moria can do, except obviously KO the characters. So she's very annoying, in my opinion. And as you can see right here, I actually do swing early with 8. I usually don't do that. But I figure, listen, she's going to make herself 7 anyway, and then she's going to need a 2k. So might as well do it. So we got 2 cards out of hand. We go ahead and we play the Baby Hogback just to trash. I like this card a lot. He's a new addition. He trashes 5. If you have 6 cards or less and pop him, you get to draw. Very good addition. For Nami, one of the most annoying things is if she does play, I would say Nami on 5 drop. Makes you lose a life if you're 3 or more. I'm at 4 right now. Also very annoying is the 4-cost Marcos. Any blocker is just annoying in general. She almost always will use, and this is where the Hayori comes out and is really clutch. And I have 2 Gecko Moria 8 costs in hand, so it kind of doesn't matter. I might as well just use the trigger, go ahead. So she's kind of like a free summon, because otherwise it's not really worth it to play her out. And right here I'm going to go for 7 to force 2 cards out of hand. He may take it, or he might give 2 cards. He ended up, you know, getting a Kikanojo trigger, which sucks. From here, I think the only thing I'm worried about is blockers, because I hate blockers. Blockers come and ruin the whole parade. We have a pretty good setup. We have the 9-cost Boa, which is actually pretty good. And of course, what people play, I don't play Borsalino. I don't like Borsalino. He's probably one of the most OP cards ever invented in the game, where for 5 costs, you get a life, he becomes a blocker, and next turn he's a 6k body. It's like, bro has everything. So as you can see, they do 11 to life, which kind of means they're kind of bricked up, thank God. I think I went first this game just to try to steal their 7-drop Robin. I don't know if I play the baby because as you can see, my trash is pretty light. I don't have Perona trash, but I end up playing Hogback just to be aggressive. That's the thing that's very hard, is like with Gecko Moria, he gets slowed down very heavily, and he's actually affected very negatively by rush characters. So it's kind of like a bit of it's a bit of a race to get them as low as possible and do as much as possible. And right here, I'm just going to do 7 to get 2 cards out of hand, which is actually pretty good, actually. I mean, they basically wasted a 2K. But what I noticed with Gecko Moria against Nami is that if the Nami gets the 5-cost Nami, that's annoying. If the next turn they get the 7-cost Robin, that's really annoying. And then their dream turn, in my opinion, would be first turn, they go first, they play Girl, or actually, no, they can't. They have to have 2 Don. They always play Girl, just for the rest of the Don mechanic. Then they're going to play this annoying Nico Robin, who heals 2. Like, and not only does she heal 2, if you swing on her, you lose a life. So it's like, not only is she super annoying because she gives 2 lives, but she also goes ahead and hits you with the basically impenetrable defense, where she cannot be killed, basically, unless you are willing to give up a life. So at this point, I'm at 9 Don, and I'm thinking, all right, let me swing with 5, pop, freeze, and then I think I would play Boa, just because of the fact that there's no one else on the field to really like freeze. So that's what I do. Only thing that, well, actually no, I was gonna say the only thing I could have done differently is play Gecko and then swing for 7, but that's not big of a deal. And as you can see, she gets the double Nico Robin back to back. And if I'm not mistaken, coming up here is a great example of just use Hiyori, because so far I've gotten 1 trigger that played Hiyori, right? And I'm taking a big hit here. Now, I could take this hit, but I think I actually... Oh, nice. I got Wars out. That's actually clutch. I could have sworn at some point I do block, and after blocking, I get another life, and that life is Gecko Moria, and that Gecko Moria gets me Hiyori, but maybe I'm misremembering this. Either way, I mean, this Hiyori came out off trigger, so it's kind of like, you know... And I'm just checking my trash for, like, what can I play? Honestly, not many good options, but at least I can pull out, what's his face? Hogback. So at this point, it's not looking great. It's not looking the worst, but it's also not looking the best. So I'm just going to go for a naked 5 just to force, probably they'll discard a card and become 7, more than likely. Which is exactly what happens. I'm going to pop Hogback. I'm going to play out Perona. And I'm going to freeze Kikunojo. And then after freezing Kikunojo, what I'm going to probably do is... I know what I would do is I would do 7 with leader, 11, and then maybe 8 with Wars, but I don't know what I actually do. Let's see. I'm definitely playing out the 8 cost. The question is if I am going to heal twice or heal once. Probably heal twice the way this is looking. Alright, RAT. So I just swing 11 to 7 to life. Yeah, that makes sense. Should heal because I have enough. Who cares? I actually should throw 1 Gecko Moria in the trash because, well, I don't know. I've been burned by that in the past, but I feel like having 2 or 3 Gecko Morias in hand, it's not worth it because there's so many. There is so many cards that bring him back. Well, not really. There is a lot of cards that bring him back to hand, but what I do is I will usually just play the 2 black Hogbacks that bring him from trash to hand. And right here, I think what I'm doing is I'm going to swing with Ors and it's pass. That way... Oh, never mind. Okay. I'm going to swing 8 and then 11. I guess the argument here, right, is to not turn the boa sideways, but we do have 2 2Ks, which is actually pretty good. That means they have to swing for 13, and they're going to play the more like survivalist route. So a 13 swing is not that likely. And then Ors, what's good about him is not only does he get played out because he's a 4 cost, but his on KO is really annoying. Where his on KO is, you basically take 3 cards from your trash, put it back into your deck, and he comes back active to the field, which is pretty nice. Like, the only thing that's getting rid of him is, like, you know, a Red Rock or a Gravity Blade, but they did end up giving removal protection with the Black Perona, which is actually pretty interesting. There's a Black Perona that's new that allows you to discard a card and then nobody can get removed from the field, kind of like Crocodile with Buggy, which is pretty good. And I think right here I'm going to take the hit and keep the 2k in hand. Or actually, no, I'm going to block. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's actually really funny. This is the second time Hayori comes out off of a trigger, which is pretty crazy. And in my opinion, I think this and I just figure why wouldn't I just heal? Like, who cares? Because basically him playing 2 Borsalinos was negated by what just happened, because I took a hit with blocker, gained a life, and then took another hit, blocked, and healed, so I ended the turn +1 life. So that's actually really great. That's actually really good. And I was tempted here because I had so many people on board, like, oh, what if I go ahead and go for board and then heal with Boa? But I'm like, bro, I'm not going to overthink this. Like, as you can see here, I could have played the Boa and I could have had even more. Oh my god, I would have had even more next turn. But, like, in my opinion, when you play against Nami, you're not guaranteed to have the upper hand next turn, even though we had a board of big bodies. I would much rather distribute Dawn and go for game now, because it is possible. So, like, for example, here, I'm going to go ahead and swing. So I have 11, 11, 8, 9. So I'm going to swing 9. He blocks it. Okay. Now I'm going to swing 10 and see what he does. If he blocks it, then whatever. Okay. Now, at this point, I don't remember if I go for board or not. I shouldn't. Actually, I do go for board, I think. Which is not that bad, now that I think about it. Yeah, I think I do 11, and then either 12 to board or 11 to board, which, honestly, looking back, is not that bad, because look at his board. Like, it would be much worse if I left the 2 Robins, because then he could have, like, split. He could have done 10-10 to my Boa and to my Gecko Moria, and then I kind of would have been out of luck. So right here, I think I'm going to do either 11 or 12 to the Robin, which obviously it's annoying because I'm going to pop a life, but, you know, chances are potentially that I can get a trigger that brings a body out, which isn't super duper helpful here, considering that my opponent just has a girl and then a Robin who cannot be frozen by Perona. But it is what it is. Like, this is a better setup. The only thing that could have really gotten me here, I don't think anything, honestly, unless he had, like, a 5-cost rush and then did like a 6 swing and then 2 6 swings, and I don't know. It'd be kind of tough for him to get me. So this is honestly a lot of the reason why this is even working out so well is probably because I had Hayori come out on trigger, because I didn't have to spend that Dawn. And then more than likely, I mean, let's be honest, you block with Hayori, get a life. The life was Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria plays out Hayori. You block again and get a life. So it's like literally 3 attacks were completely negated. And this is another thing that people seem to not understand. I don't know why so many people just don't. I don't know. I don't know why they just don't know. Like, hitting ores is worthless unless I have, like, only 3 cards in trash, and I'll send him a trash anyway. So there's no point to swing on him, really, because he's a 7k body anyway. And I don't even know what they're doing here. Again, like, I think they know that Hogback can play someone out, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what they were thinking with this, because 2 of those hits basically were for nothing. I'm assuming they don't really play Thriller Bark in their deck that much. In my opinion, they played Nami the same way most people play Nami, so even if they didn't know Thriller Bark package that much, they knew their deck pretty well. They didn't get... The only thing I'd say they didn't get on curve is the 5-cost Nami. As you can see, they just trashed that. Whenever they got it, it probably was just too late, where, like, that extra 1 bit wasn't worth it. And I think I do actually go for the Boa here, just to try to, like, surprise them, which is fair. I mean, it's basically kind kind of like a very expensive rush with a guaranteed life hit. I like Boa a lot. The only problem is that because Gecko Moria has a board, like for example that last turn, I literally had a board of 1 billion people. You're kind of tempted to not play the Boa and just what do you call it? Okay, so they're gonna block. I think I'm gonna go for life and then play Boa anyway. I think that's what I would do personally. That way they have less cards in hand and you're guaranteed to get to life. Yes, and we'll play Boa. We go up to 4 lives. And at this point, I mean, let's be honest. They played 2 Robins, which means they healed 4 lives. They played 3 Borsalinos, which means they healed 3 lives and 3 blockers. So, you know, to be fair, at this point, like, you know, the way the game went, they just basically couldn't do anything. I mean, they stayed alive. I mean, they did a lot of survival stuff. And that usually is the downfall of Gecko Moria, is that he doesn't have a blocker. He doesn't have things that usually heal without a lot of cost. Although the Zoro isn't a huge cost, you just trash 1 card. But that's the thing that makes Nami so annoying. And honestly, if this guy had, I don't know. I want to say Gravity Blade, but like, look at my board. It kind of doesn't matter. And if I remember correctly, he tried to do the cheap thing, which is go 11 to 10. And it's like, come on, my boy, come on. Come on, bro. 11 to 10. You couldn't even give a little bit of that, and look at this, 11 to 10. And obviously I have to let it go because I only have a 1K, but at this point, like, what is he going to do? So I'd say that this guy played pretty good. He played a pretty good Nami. Wasn't a perfect game. I'd say games where I feel a lot more pressure is when they go second and play Marco on 4, or they go first and they play Nami on 5, and then from there it's kind of like annoying because at that point you usually take a hit and then you're gonna lose a life with Nami. So it's kind of awkward because when you go up against a Nami, you're kind of incentivized to take those 2 early hits of a 1K could have saved you because you figure Nami's gonna take your life anyway. But I mean, in general, I feel like blue yellow Nami is very annoying. It's one of those decks where it's just like super slow, super complicated because they're playing Nico Robin where if you hit them you lose a life, and they're playing Nami where if you hit them they summon a 6K body. And I don't know, I feel like Nico Robin is somewhat fair because they're leader locked to Straw Hat, and although they do heal too, they're at least leader locked, but Nami is literally for any yellow deck. And like, what bothers me the most is like, I love YG Yamato and I love her leader ability, and like people now sweat her for just playing Nami, which is a very good card, just to play out Kiko when Nami goes away. And it's like, come on, bro, like these cards have too many functions. Like, Nami takes a life, Nami swings for 6, Nami when KO'd summons a 6K body. It's like, come on, same thing with Borsalino. Bro gives life, and he's a blocker, and, you know, before the ban, he was able to come off of a trigger, which is absolutely insane. So I like Gecko Moria a lot. He does not have a good win rate against blue-yellow Nami just because, the big thing, honestly, is the fact that with Gecko Moria, you're going to be doing a lot of, 7K swings. That's kind of like your sweet spot. But with Nami having her leader ability, which is trash a card, become a 7K leader, all of a sudden these 7K swings that require 2 cards out of a hand just require 1 card out of hand. So she's very annoying. I'd say she's worse than Roger in a lot of ways, because Roger, although he does have a lot of big bodies, he doesn't have a lot of survivability. Bro, she can heal, like she healed 2 lives off that one Nico Robin. Well, +1. Basically, you lose a life, gain 2. And then +2 for the double Borsalino play. It's like, bro, come on, man. Like, how much are you gonna heal? But I mean, it is what it is. Blue Yellow Nami is pretty much like at the top of almost every tournament now, and she's very annoying. It's just pretty funny though, because like, I like, the One Piece card game, and I like the themed decks where like, YG Yamato is supposed to be the land of Wano, and for Blue Yellow Nami, it's supposed to be East Blue. It's supposed to be like, you're supposed to, what they had envisioned with the Learn Together deck is you play out the Usopp that then plays out like a 6K body, and it's like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. And it's like, nah, we don't really need East Blue. We'll just run Nougat. We'll just run all these same yellow cards. We'll run the Thriller Bark package, and East Blue can stay in East Blue because we're living large in Yellow Land. But hey, we took the W. Wasn't easy. Wasn't easy. Well, this game actually was pretty easy because of the triple Hayori, but you know, I think I still would have won just because of the fact that I was pushing forward while they were just kind of surviving. But hey, this is one Nami win out of the 3 billion Nami losses. So let's just try to enjoy this and forget everything else.